Hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about grow lights. It's really important to understand what your grow light is, the strength of the grow light, how many kelvins you have, because it's really important that you have the right kind of grow light for your seedlings or you're not going to have success. So when we talk about, everyone talks about, well, make sure it has 5,000 kelvins or higher, which is true, but why? So if you look at the spectrum of 1,000 to 10,000 in kelvins, 1,000 is warmer light, more red hue, and that's what helps with flowering, and it helps the plant, create fruit, that type of thing. Whereas if you get up to 10,000, that's a cooler light, and that is helping the plant grow strong leaves, strong stems, that type of thing. So that way, when everyone says 5,000, you're in the middle of the spectrum, and that way you're getting a balance of both of those types of light, which is really important for your plants. The other thing is the strength of the light. You want to make sure it has adequate strength because you don't want the plant to try to creep up and get to the light where it's going to get leggy, and then it really won't adapt well once it gets outside. And so that's why if you have a weaker light, you have to push the light closer to the plant so that it gets the adequate light that it needs. And a stronger light, you can move up the light a little bit higher. You also want to make sure that whatever light you have can be adjusted as the plant grows, or you put it about 6 inches away from the seedling before it starts, and so that will help the plant as well, because there are thousands of grow lights out there. So you can't just buy a grow light, and if it says it's 3,000 Kelvin, it's really not going to work for you. So it's really important to understand what it is that you're buying. So also the other thing is, a lot of people use racks, which is great, and you can hang the lights from the racks, and that's great too, and it's also a space saver by having the racks. I personally don't use racks because I'm a very short person, so I don't want to be like putting my arms up over my head or trying to pull down a tray to see if it needs watering or anything like that. I try to keep it at waist level or a little higher so that it's easier for me to work. It's easier for me for watering and monitoring and things like that. But whatever works for you, that's a-okay. But I just want to show you what I have, and then we'll talk about that a little bit more. So let me show you what we're doing. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, like I described, we have a table here. I have two folding tables side by side, and I have 8 grow lights that accommodates one tray. So this is my setup here. And then you can see I store a lot of stuff. I don't want to look too hard under there, but I have a lot of stuff stored under there. And then, I have my stool here is where I sit. So I want to kind of demonstrate. So these are onions and shallots. You can see they've been growing for a while. So I'm able to raise the light compared to this one. You can see how one is higher than the other, because as the plants grow, then I'm either potting up or I'm raising the lights to be able to accommodate the plant. Here we have brand new um, plantings that I did. These are peppers, and you can see it's about 6 inches. And that will stay there until they start getting too tall. And so some people are like, well, why is the grow light on if nothing sprouted? I like to keep the grow light on because you never know when it's going to sprout. And when it does sprout, I want it to have the light so that it can begin the energy and begin that journey. Now, on this side, I have mostly warm loving plants. And even though every tray is on a heat mat, you see there's a heat mat under there. So I have the heat mats on for the warm loving, but down here I have my cool loving. I have my cabbages, I have some asparagus, I have uh, some, over here I have some broccoli and fennel, and these are the cooler loving ones. So when you set it out, don't turn the heat mat on for your cold hardy plants, because they're cold hardy and they don't want the heat. Because what happens is, if you're heating them, then you get the same problem with the legginess. It kind of makes them grow, they're growing too leggy and getting too thin, and then they can't adapt. So that's the opposite effect of having a weak light. So you have to deal with the heat as well, and you have to understand that the cold hardies, they really don't like the heat mat. So don't do the heat mat. And I know that's true because I've learned the hard way. I absolutely learned the hard way. Now, just like onions, plants are categorized long day, medium day, short day. All vegetable plants and most of our flowers are long day. So that means they need 14 to 16 hours of light under the grow light. Don't keep the grow light on for 24 hours. I did that once when I didn't have a timer. I accidentally did that on a whole tray of tomatoes. Killed them. Totally killed them. And it was, it was heartbreaking. So that's what made me invest in timers. And timers are invaluable because then you don't have to think about, well, I got to go down and turn the lights on and off. So I have timers on the lights, but I don't have timers on the heat mat because if I turn the heat mat on, I want the heat going 24 hours a day. And then metabolically, a plant, just like a person, they need some of that darkness. They need to rest. So you need to have a minimum of 14 to 16 hours. A lot of people go as high as 18, but it all depends on your light. How strong is your light? So you have to monitor your plants to see what they can tolerate and how well they're doing. So that's really important with the light as well. So here, I want to show you. Now, here's a very inexpensive light, right? This is a very inexpensive light. It costs like $30. I didn't start the seedlings under here. I used my other grow lights for the seedlings so that they were well established. So these are my chives, and I have 2 little celery plants in there. And so it will do adequately now that they're maturing and they're getting a little bit higher. So something like this light, I probably would keep on a little longer because it's not as strong as these lights over here. So it's really all about figuring out what works for you and making sure that your plants are healthy. Check on them every day, making sure they have the water that they need, and then making sure, the light is there as well. So here, in here, and I kind of touch it and to make sure that they're doing well. I also have a soil meter that will help me determine whether or not, because I want to go deep down to the bottom so that you're going to water from underneath. You're not going to water from the top. Look, there's a little tiny sprout right there. So you water from underneath because that's going to help with your seedlings from bringing it up, because you don't want to get mold on the top. You don't want to, have your seedlings die because it's so, dampening off because it's too damp on the top. You want the roots to fight their way down to the bottom where the water is, and that's how you're going to have strong, healthy roots. So this is what we do here at Dobos Farms, and this is how we grow together. And you can see I have a lot of seedlings started, and soon, in about a month or so, I'll be putting some of these outside to cold hardy. And then once I do that, you can look at my video on frost dates, because as soon as I get that out, then I'm going to start planting my warm-loving plants. So it's succession inside. People think of succession planting as only something that happens once you get everything into the ground, but you're actually starting the succession planting indoors when you're working with your cold hardies to get ready for the earlier season before your warm hardies can go out. So that's where we're at, and I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks a lot.